The Minnesota Vikings defeated the Seattle Seahawks in thrilling fashion, 27-24, and advanced to 13-2 during the NFL regular season. And the topic that everyone wants to address and that everyone wants to talk about the day after, instant reaction after, multiple, this is going to be the conversation for the next 4 months. And it's a fun conversation because my opinion is shifting every day. And I was originally on the Minnesota Vikings are not going to bring Sam Darnold back because of the contract situation, their salary cap flexibility. And that's still what the Minnesota Vikings might do. That's still the road they might decide to take. But I am going to take a moment on this podcast and share that the Minnesota Vikings should do everything in their power to bring back Sam Darnold for multiple years because of what he's done this season. And that is a shift of opinion from me. Originally, I was like, you know what? J.J. McCarthy, top 10 pick. They invested all this money into him and a top 10 pick into him. Darnold is up and down. He's up and down. Started good, really hit a rock in the middle of the season, and now has accelerated into one of the top 5 quarterbacks this league has seen during this NFL season. And what is happening from Sam Darnold is obvious. Beginning of the season, he's getting his feet wet. Mid-season, he's got tunnel vision towards Justin Jefferson. And now that he's flourishing, 15 touchdowns, 1 interception in the last few games. He is spreading the football around. He is not targeting solely Justin Jefferson, which is not only opening it up for a Jordan Addison, a TJ Hawkinson, a Jalen Naylor, but it's also opening things up for Justin Jefferson. Look at the numbers Jefferson has produced recently. 2 touchdowns against the Seahawks, a touchdown a few weeks ago, touchdown maybe last week. Jefferson has been playing his best football of the season because Sam Darnold is not locked in and have tunnel vision towards him. When Darnold spreads the football around, it forces the defense to shift schematically, shift towards an Addison, a shift towards a Hawkins, a shift towards this guy or that guy. And when that happens, well, then it opens up the lanes for Justin Jefferson as well. So you would think that if you want to get Jefferson the ball, you just got to lock in on him, have tunnel vision towards him. But it's actually the exact opposite. You get Justin Jefferson the ball more by spreading the football around to more wide receivers. And that's why we're seeing Sam Darnold explode at the end of the season. We are seeing him take command of the Minnesota Vikings offense. And following the game against the Seahawks, Kevin O'Connell went to the podium and called this offense Sam's offense. He could have used a lot of other words. He called it Sam's offense. That is a high compliment to a guy that was only supposed to be here as a bridge quarterback. And conversations in Eagan at TCO Performance Center are changing quickly, because how can you let Sam Darnold walk out the door when he is performing at an MVP level? The only reason he's not going to be MVP this season is because Josh Allen is putting up absurd rushing touchdown numbers, passing touchdown numbers, and that's why Darnold won't win. But as far as the numbers he's putting up, he's right behind Josh Allen. He's playing better than Mahomes. He's playing better than Lamar Jackson. Sam Darnold is becoming a franchise quarterback right in front of our eyes. And, the things that get brought up is that J.J. McCarthy's on a rookie contract. It creates the salary cap flexibility. It creates all this different pathways towards becoming a Super Bowl contender. You drafted him in the top 10, so it's like you show the faith in the guy. But at what point do you need to shift direction and say, you know what? Darnold is playing at an MVP level right now. He's got the talent, he's got the ability, and he's in his prime right now. At what point do you shift trajectories or pathways and say, you know what? Darnold's our guy for the next 3 to 4 years. Because here's the question that I think we need to answer. At J.J. McCarthy's best, is he performing to the level that Sam Darnold is performing this season? There's no guarantee of that. That's a tough question. Not even bringing up the fact yet that J.J. McCarthy had to have a second knee procedure because things ain't looking too good in there. So if you're a decision maker, Kevin O'Connell, Kwesi Adolfo-Mensah, how do you not seriously consider bringing Sam Darnold back? Now, the argument against it is the salary cap flexibility and the different players you can sign this offseason with the money you would give Sam Darnold. I get that. I understand it all. But let me respond to it like this. If J.J. McCarthy is good enough, if he is the guy that you expect him to be, if he's the guy that you drafted him to be, well, you're going to have to give out that contract anyways in 3, 4, 5 years. You're going to have to pay J.J. McCarthy if he becomes a franchise quarterback. So eventually it's going to become a problem. So it's not like, oh, well, you know, if we just get rid of Sam Darnold, well, then J.J. McCarthy's on a rookie contract. It's not going to be like that forever. You're going to have to pay some quarterback. And eventually that's going to be a problem. And every single great team in the NFL has to maneuver that situation and bring guys in that are cap-friendly contracts. The thing that needs to change is that the Vikings need to draft well. That's what all good teams need to do when they have a guy at the quarterback position that's making boatloads of money. So I think that's a simple question that needs to be answered. If you don't want to pay Sam Darnold now, well, what's the difference in 4 years when you have to pay J.J. McCarthy if he's the guy that you expect him to be? It's a problem regardless, but you could just figure the problem out right now. So, I get it. If McCarthy becomes the stellar all-time Sam Darnold, Patrick Mahomes type quarterback, well, then he's on a rookie contract, but that's a big gamble. That's a huge gamble. Darnold has 32 touchdowns, 11 interceptions this season. And at this point, if you're Sam Darnold, my takes recently have been, you know what, Darnold's going to want to go to the market, and that's been Adam Schefter's reports, right? I mean, that's been the consistent thing, that he's going to want to go to the market, get the highest contract he can get, because this is his one time that he can really pounce on a contract like this, because he's never deserved it yet. But if you're Sam Darnold and you're talking to your agent, you played in New York for several years, and it was a disaster. You played in Carolina, I think for 2. That's a disaster. You're a backup in San Fran, whatever, and now you're a superstar quarterback with the Minnesota Vikings. Do you really want to consider going back to a situation like the Jets or the Panthers? Now, I get it. He's got some choice, but his choices are going to be limited. It's not like the Chiefs or the Bills or the Ravens are going to be looking for a quarterback. It's not like the Browns can afford a quarterback. So his choices are limited. And if you're Sam Darnold, do you really risk signing a massive contract with the Raiders or with the Giants or with some other franchise in the NFL just to go back to a situation like the Jets and like the Panthers? That's a serious conversation Darnold needs to have with his agent, because he could explode and he could take the big market value. Or at what point is enough enough? Does he make the same decision as Kirk Cousins and takes the big contract, which there's nothing wrong with that? Or does he take a little bit less and stay with an organization that can win and win Super Bowls and trusts in him? That's a tough conversation that Sam Darnold needs to have right now. And just take a look at Sam Darnold's stats this season. Kevin Seifert, the insider for ESPN, covers the Minnesota Vikings. And he sent out this message on X yesterday following the game. Kevin O'Connell noted that Sam Darnold has now had a 100-plus passer rating in 12 games this season, which is a very, very significant number in our offense and in our system. What has become Sam's offense? Making some of these plays and throws he did. The throw to Justin Jefferson, which gave the Vikings the lead late, is now being analyzed by the Dan Orlovskis, the QB pundits of the world. And, one of the things that isn't being talked about enough about that throw is the ball placement that Darnold placed the ball in. The place that Darnold put the ball in was the best spot for that to be while he was on his run, while he didn't have his feet set, and while he was about to take a massive hit. He was running and flicked it, and it went to Justin Jefferson's outside shoulder. The safety was coming from the right, and he threw it on Jefferson's outside shoulder. You couldn't have handed the ball better off to him, and that was a 40-yard throw. So that throw is one of the best football throws that I think I've ever seen. And I'm being serious. When you think about the moment, down 4, he was just injured, just got his ankle shaken up a bit. He's scrambling, stepping up in the pocket, and he just flicks it with his right hand, and it drops perfectly in Jefferson's hands. It's a sensational pass by Sam Darnold. And, it's a tough conversation the Minnesota Vikings need to have because, you know what, if you don't bring Darnold back and J.J. McCarthy's a superstar, well, you look good. But if you don't bring Darnold back, McCarthy's a bust or he can't stay healthy, you're fired. You do bring Darnold back, he sucks, you're fired. So it's one of those conversations that's tough because you can see both ways. You can see both scenarios. But, this conversation that Darnold could be a one-year wonder, I think is not true because of his skill set, because of his decision-making that's been transformed this season, and because of what Kevin O'Connell has proven to do with quarterbacks like Sam Darnold. So, what a gamble by Darnold and the Minnesota Vikings to trust each other, and now the Vikings are 13-2. Control their own destiny. Beat the Packers, beat the Lions. They're the number 1 seed in the NFC. This season, it feels special right now. Now, you go into the playoffs, and you have to win 3 road games to get to the Super Bowl. Well, that's a tough task to ask. And the Vikings are on an 8-game winning streak right now. But they're 13-2 and one of the Super Bowl contenders right now. So it has just been an impressive run. And Darnold caught up with a reporter following this game and said these things.
For the game. Sam, you've been coming up big late in the fourth quarter for this team. Another go-ahead touchdown for you today to Justin Jefferson for 39 yards. Can you take me through that play?
Yeah, I just felt like the front side wasn't there and felt Jets on the backside doing his thing. And, we got some cloud coverage, and he did a really good job of just finding the open zone, and I was able to put it on him and he did the rest.
Your defense came up very big there late in the game on 2 different drives. No, what are you seeing from those guys?
They do their thing every single week. They come out here. Their run, the way they stop the run game every single week is impressive. and they come out big when they need to. And this whole team, man, I'm so proud of the guys in that locker room, and wouldn't want to be anywhere else.
Sam, this is the 13th win of the season for this group, tied for the second most in team history. What does that mean to you?
Nothing. You know, we're just going to keep rolling. We're going to keep going 1-0 every single week, and that's our mindset.
Keep rolling. Next Sunday, Green Bay. What do you guys need to do on a holiday week to prepare for those guys?
Yeah, I mean, obviously a really good team. We just played another really good team in Seattle this week, so got to get the body right Monday, Tuesday, and then get to work on Wednesday.
Thanks, Sam.
Now, the opinions that I've shared on today's podcast are coming from a guy that was skeptical of the Minnesota Vikings bringing back Darnold, and I still am. I'm not really sure if the Vikings will bring him back or not, but all I know is that the conversation has shifted inside of Egan. And Kwesi, O'Connell, do you really want to hand the keys to J.J. McCarthy after Darnold led the team to 13-2? That's a tough one. That is a tough conversation. Because McCarthy still hasn't played an NFL game yet. And Darnold, just in that interview, said there's no place I'd rather be, which is the second time he said that during the season. Now, as I think players say, they say that kind of garbage all the time. But if you're in the places that Darnold was, Jets and Panthers, how can you not seriously consider coming back on the Minnesota Vikings and continuing this trend of great football? Stuff. All right, everyone, thank you for watching. Thanks for going on this journey with me. Hit that subscribe button wherever you are watching or listening.